Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the Black Wealth Boot Camp, and I wanted to talk to you about a story that I just read recently that I think is worthy of discussion. Now, this story has to do with divorce and how divorce is perpetuated by money problems. According to some researchers, a researcher by the name of Sonia Britt at Kansas State University, she says that arguing about money is the top predictor of divorce. Now, she says that this is true regardless of income, debt, net worth, etc. And I'm going to read a quote from what she said here. And she says that arguments are by far the top predictor of divorce. It's not children, sex, in-laws, or anything else. It's money for both men and women. And so the study was entitled Examining the Relationship Between Financial Issues and Divorce. It was published in 2012 in the Family Relations Journal, and it looked at data from 4,500 couples. And so basically they're saying that that fights about money are indicative of deeper issues. They go into things like power, trust, all these things, all these variables. They kind of make relationships go or make them stop depending on the situation. And so I think this is an important understanding, important thing for you to kind of realize. I actually wrote a book called Financial Lovemaking, which I partner with S.T. Brown from Ebony Magazine. And one of the things that we observed a long time ago is that financial dynamics play a huge part in relationships. They play a huge part in who you choose to date. They play a huge part in how your relationship goes. When there's money instability, financial problems, it tends to just create a rockiness where maybe one of the partners feels a little less secure than the other. Another one feels, oh, you're spending up all the money, or oh, you won't let me do what I want to do. You have issues like financial infidelity that come into play, where I'm going to sneak and I'm going to go use money for something that you don't know about because you won't let me be free. So one of the things that we tell people on a regular basis is that anybody that you choose to have a relationship with, you have to make sure you understand whether or not you're financially compatible. If you're not, people will look at sexual compatibility and spiritual compatibility, professional compatibility, but they don't look at financial compatibility. And I can tell you, if you don't do that, then you could be in for a really rude awakening and a really painful experience, because then next thing you know, you end up arguing about money, and then you've got all these emotional issues compounded with financial stress. And I think for black folks, it's a real interesting dynamic as well, because money in many cases is an issue for our community. We don't have the same money that white folks have. We don't get the same job opportunities. Many people, are trained in the black community to go and ask the white guy down the street for a job. We're not really trained to create jobs, or we don't feel that we have the ability to develop economic infrastructure in our community. And I think this is really interesting in terms of how it affects the way the black woman sees the black man. I think on average, from what I've observed, women tend to view men who have money and power in a different status. Like Barack Obama is considered one of the sexiest black men in America, but he wasn't one of the sexiest black men in America back when he was driving a raggedy car and couldn't afford to, to hardly pay the rent. So I think that, you have to be honest about this. You got to kind of think about how this plays out for you. You got to think about how it affects your relationships. You got to think about how you're positioned. If you're a man, you want to make sure you have a plan B by knowing how to start a business. It only takes maybe a couple hundred hours of work to learn how to start a business. That's less than, there's 168 hours in a week. And so it probably takes you can probably learn how to start a business in maybe 2 or 3 weeks of intense training, things like that. And at the blackbusinessschool.com, we have resources available to you where you don't have to go spend $100,000 going to a big university. You can just come to us, and you might pay $99 a month or $150 a month, something small. But what I just want to share with you guys is that you can't underestimate the impact that money has on your relationships. You can't. In fact, the way money is spent, like for example, if I'm married to somebody and she's taking all the money and giving it to her alcoholic brother, and I don't love this dude, but I know he's taking money out of food out of my kids' mouths, then that might cause an issue, right? Or I've seen situations where a man might be, spending money on another woman and taking care of her kids, and the wife is furious because that's her kids' money, right? So at the end of the day, you got to really I think that financial security solves a lot of problems. I think financial responsibility solves a lot of problems. I think that analyzing financial compatibility solves a lot of problems. So think about all these things as you create and invest in relationships, because your family is your first small business. If you manage that small business wrong, then everything else kind of messes up after that. So anyway, I'm about to get out of here. By the way, I do believe strongly that preparing our kids for the future in terms of understanding wealth building, cooperative economics, entrepreneurship, etc., is critically important. We have a program for that. You can find out more at blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. That's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. And of course, you know I teach at the blackwealthbootcamp.com, and we have a lot of resources in place. So if you want to solve some of these problems, you want some help, I might be your guy. So take care, guys. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. You have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.